said, men and brethren, let me take the time out this evening to greet you in the lovely name of Jesus. You see, God is more than we expect him to be if we only by faith ask him for anything. You see, this evening we are looking in a theme that is saying, shut the door. Shutting the door is telling us this evening that when we shut the door and go in, we're going into the secret place of the Most High. Shutting the door is telling us that when we go into the secret place of the Most High, anything we set our minds to and anything we ask will be given. But the first thing we must understand this evening, this Shunammite woman, when Elisha went unto her and asked her, what is it you have? She said, just a little oil. But this evening I want to ask you, what is it you have for a multiplication? You see, when Elisha asked her, what is it she had a need. The debtors were on her back. And all she had was that little oil. But the debtors was coming for the children. And that was what she was going to use to pay. But she had a little oil. And she needed multiplication. Hello. You see, the multiplication that she needed was to have something to pay the creditors. But the little oil was all she had, and it couldn't do anything, but she needed to be multiplied. Because only when it is multiplied, then she get it to sell, then she would get the creditors off her back. Sometimes God gives us gifts, and we sit on them, because we say, that is not what I wanted from God. I want to preach, and I want to have church, but I don't want to sweep the church floor. But sometimes that is what God calls you for. You see, this walk with God goes step by step. So you may not want to clean the floor, but you just want to come into there and say, Lord, forgive me, and then move up the ladder. It don't go so. You see, for you to move up, you must be multiplied. And faith is the only way for you to multiply. You see, when Elisha sent her into the room, Elisha said, shut the door. Go into the sacred place of the Most High and ask for that multiplication. And Elisha said to her, all right, now that you believe that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him, go in and shut the door. Send and ask for all kind of vessels. She didn't have to do it if she didn't believe it. But she believed with all her heart that there was coming a multiplication. What is it do you want this evening, saints of God? What is it you are going into your sacred place to ask for? You must have a need. He said in his presence there is fullness of joy. And at his right hand there are pleasures forevermore. When you go into that secret place with God, you must have a need. He fills all needs. He supplies them according to his riches in glory. Don't just go in and shut the door. Make sure when you are going in, there is a need. There is a need for multiplication. So you hold the bank, but you're not working and you don't know where it is coming from. So you walk into the sacred place of the Most High and you shut the door. Because the moment you walk in it, you're walking in the presence of God. The moment you're shutting the door, you're going in the Shekinah glory of God. You see, we can't just sit down. These are not the days when we are going to sit down and say, Lord, make it come. No. Faith come by hearing, and by hearing the word of God. And faith is a verb. Faith is a doing word. Excuse me if I sound like I'm a teacher. Yes, I am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, by profession I am. But you see, faith come by hearing, and by hearing of the word of God. And faith is a doing word. So if you just sit down and expect it to come and don't believe that God can, it's not going to come. Because the Shunammite woman did not just sit down. She went and borrowed everything that she could get. She was doing because she wanted the multiplication. What are you doing? You know, I preach at my church that tithes is your gateway for blessing. Are you robbing God?
Oh, you hear that?
Are you robbing God? Because when you rob him, the blessing not going to come. Because he said, bring me all the tithes into the storehouse and prove me now. Herewith said the Lord of hosts, if I will not open to you the windows of heaven and pour you out the blessing that you may need. So how are you going to shut the door when you're robbing God? What you're going to tell him? Say, Lord, I'm robbing you. I work $10,000 and I only can give you $500 because the light bill big. It's not your business. You give him what is due to him. And when you give him what is due to him, then you present the rest and say, God, it can't pay the light bill and the water rate and send the children to school. But that is still not your business. It is for him to multiply it for you. It is for you to prove him. Who is he? Because that's what he said. Prove me. Here, now with and herewith, said the Lord of hosts, if I will not bless you abundantly. So when you sit down and you rob him, you can't go in the secret place. How are you going to shut the door? You're only going to ask for forgiveness. Because he said, I don't just curse you. I curse you with a curse. So it's like it going over. It's kind of doubling up. You know, somebody taught me one time that the word of God goes with multiplication. You see, it is multiplication. Because everything multiplies. And your faith multiplies when you're not robbing God. Because let me tell you, the day you start robbing him is the day you are in trouble. That's why sometimes you may sit and say, you know, Bishop, nothing now go on for me. Every day nothing now go on and you're a child of God. Ask yourself the question, what am I doing wrong? And most of us as church brethren, one of our biggest sins is that we're robbing in tithes and offerings.
Tell them again,
a lot of times we do it. We rob him. We rob him. Today, he is risen and he is here to tell you today, stop it. You can't get a multiplication robbing him. You work and he said 1/10. That means 100. You give him 10 and you keep 90. You see how not unfair? 10 marks you for, and you keep 90, and you still cannot give him. How greedy are we? And selfish. But today the question is asking, what do you have? Elisha asked the Shunammite woman, what do you have? She said, all I have is a little oil. Do you have a little oil today? Do you have a little oil in your vessel today to seek a multiplication? What is it you have that's not working for you that you need it to be multiplied? You see how quick her own multiplied? From a little bit, and she said I get a lot of vessels, and she keep pouring and pouring from the same little bit, and the little bit wouldn't finish until she didn't have any more vessels. What do you have today, saints? You see, we must know where we are going. You know, we can't walk in blind. We must know where we're going. Because if you walk in blind, I'm sure your bishop is not blind. I can guarantee that part. He's not blind. And if you're walking blind today, speak to him and see Jesus. Walk in that secret place of the Most High and tell him all about it. Because let me tell you, He's not coming again. He's already here, waiting to appear. Because the signs of the time are telling it. And we can't sit idle anymore. He said we must be royal priesthood and a holy nation and a set apart people. You see, we can't be competing with the world anymore. We must allow the world to compete against us. What is it you have? What is it you have in your hand? What is it you have to offer? When you're going to shut the door, what is it there you are going to do? What can you do? All he's asking for a heart for a kingdom. Is your robe spotless, ready if he comes? You need a multiplication today. He is here. You see, we must understand our way with God. We must understand that he hears and sees and knows everything that we do. So even when you try to cheat him round the corner, or you try to tell the lie round the corner, he already knows. You see, I speak like Jeremiah a lot of times, and I said it a lot of times, that I don't know about anybody else being saved, but I know about me. Because from in the womb, I was anointed. Because when my mother was about 8 months pregnant and she got the Holy Ghost, I was right in the womb turning over. And for days, doctor couldn't tell her what is wrong in her belly because the little baby just going slow. So I'm like Jeremiah, I had a purpose. You see, I have a purpose upon this earth. I don't know about anybody. And I'm not going to give up on my purpose. Each and every one of us have a purpose. And if we seek him and consider our purpose, then it must be fulfilled. You must fulfill that purpose. So if you get your purpose to sweep the church, sweep it joyfully. If you get it to wipe it and sing. If you get it to dust the windows, dance and dust it. You see, we can't allow pride to block our blessings and our multiplication. And let me tell you, sometimes the pride that we think so hard, please, it's better we throw it out because it's not going anywhere. It's not doing anything for us. It's really just full of who we are and just go and say, me can't wait for them, look how me not for it. Really now? Who you think you be telling me to come white church? Oh really? You see, that is it. He walks far from the crowd and the council. He walks far from you when you become proud. So when the bishop calls and says, I want somebody to come wipe, say, I'm on my way, sir. You know, the other day I get a beating for that same thing. I went to fasting service, and when I went, the place wasn't clean. And as a minister and as a reverend, I started to sweep. And one of my overseer come and said, Reverend, what are you doing? I said, I'm sleeping. She said, you're crazy? I said, no, Mom, I'm still sleeping. Regardless of who I am, I'm a child of God. And if the place of worship is not clean and I can sleep it, yes, I am going to sleep. Because if you don't want to do it, I will. Because that's where his honor dwells. And if I can't put it together for him to come and dwell among us, then where are we going to put together? You see, sometimes we can't even fix a secret place for him, because the house is so untidy. Sometimes the spirit brethren want to come in to dwell, but he can't come. Because when he reach at the front door, he starts to see clothes and boots and everything. I'm sorry. But you see, we have to understand that God not going anywhere dirty and mucky. No. Him clean it. Because when your heart was dirty and mucky, him clean it. So if after him do that to you now, he wants to come to dwell in your house, he's not coming in there when he's on fire. No angel not walking in here. You see, we have to understand who we are as children of God. if we are royalty and we are holy nation, then we have to act the part and look the part. We can't look like the world and we can't pretend as if we and them is the same. Sometimes you're going down the road and you're walking, mother, with your sinner friend, and then no know which are you a Christian. Because they're not dressed the same. Sometimes the Christian look even hotter than the sinner. You're not representing the king. If we look back on Vashti, when Vashti walked into the presence of the king of our same time because she didn't look royalty before she was. So we can't be competing with the world. We have to let the world compete with us. We have to look the part and play the part. That means when we ask him for the multiplication comes. Anything we ask him for, it will come. Because the moment you look like him and look like who he wants you to be, then everything will come. Everything will come. All he's asking for you to do is to walk worthy of the vacation in which you are called. Walking worthy. The word worthy, walking worthy. I'm sure, don't you ask your queen represent you all the time? Yes. And if you are a child of the king, you must represent him. So when you're putting on the clothes tomorrow to go out, ask yourself when you look in the mirror, who are you representing?
Oh,
You see, if you are married, you start represent the head first. Then you represent the head of the head after. But when you're single, you represent God. So when you dress tomorrow morning going out and you're going to work, ask yourself when you look in the mirror, who am I going out to represent today? You see, I love the song, if I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be happy. No, there's no happiness out in the world anymore. I only live my life to please the Lord. Because for me, I don't know about anybody else. I'm working for a star and a robe and a crown. And I'm going to get it because I'm going to work hard for it. I'm not giving it up. You know, in this life, everywhere you go, you have to make sure, mother, who you represent. You know, I was coming down on Caribbean Airlines and I was sitting at a window and a lady came and she said to me, can you switch seat with me? And I said, okay, and I went into the middle. And by the time we went to St. Martin's, a young lady just came up and said, you're in my seat. And I smiled and I said, really I am? She said, yes. And I said, okay, come and sit down. And there were 2 empty seats before and I went there and sat there. And a little young guy sat there and said to me, Mommy, can you pray for me? I said, why would you ask me? He said, because I see Jesus on you. And I'm afraid to go to Barbados. Because they might turn me back. I said, do you believe in God? And he said, yes. I said, believe him. I am telling you that you're going to land in Barbados and be good. And you're going to make it. And it's on my phone. He texted me this morning because I gave him a number. And he said, Mommy, all is well. I said, give God thanks. You see, when you're walking, you must know how you walk. You must know how you dress. And you must know how you look. Let me tell you, I am not bashing anybody. But let me tell you, I am all fully natural. And the reason being, he said, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And if I am fearfully and wonderfully made, I don't need anything else. Because he beautifies the meek with salvation. So while we are walking, we must understand it every day of our lives. Who we are representing. And what is it we are seeking? I seek a multiplication in my life every day. Going into my secret chamber, sometimes I used to go under my bed. Yes, when I really want to see God, I used to go under my bed late at nights, 2, 3 o'clock, and it's just used to be me and him. And it reached a point where I found out that sometimes when I get a little depressed and when I get worried, I find out that under my bed becomes a haven. And a friend of mine told me, no, cut it out. And I recognize that when I change my position and find another secret place, I meet God. You know, David said, early will I seek him. For me, I teach Bible study. I write Bible study books. And most of the time when I want to write, it's early mornings, 2, 3 o'clock before 5 o'clock. And that is when I study the Word of God. And that is when I find out that revelations open up in your mind. You can't just live in for Christ and not knowing the Word of God. Yes. Because that is your food and that is your life. That is what motivates you to keep walking. And every day of our life, we must recognize who we are in God. And the more we recognize it, the more we want to live for Him. And the more we will recognize that cheating God and stealing from God not going to help us. Because that is our gateway. And let me emphasize it. Our tithes is our gateway to blessings and straight. Let me tell you, if you just be that tithe giver and give your tithe and offering, let me tell you something. In this life, you would never live to regret it.
Bless the Lord, bless the Lord.
Everything you ever needed, everything that you ever, I don't say want, you know. I said everything that you ever needed, it will come running over. It will come running over. You see, to me, the Shunammite woman, all that the little that she had was like her tithe. Because when the man asked her, the man of God, what you have? She said, all me have, me not have nothing more than just a little bit of oil. And in my mind, when I read it, he said, go in and just give it to God and let Him multiply it for you. And she went in and all that was left, she gave it to Him. And He multiplied it. Come on, saints. Wake up, it is high time. You can't be blessed if you rob Him. I don't know why I'm saying that today, but I'm saying if you rob Him, you can't be blessed. So whatever you have in your hand today, and whatever is in your heart today, give it to Him. And let there be a multiplication. Because that's the only way you can see His face. And you can be blessed and live the life that He has ordained you for. Because He has called you and He has ordained you to be whatever you want to be. And live in His purpose. Live in His purpose. Because faith cometh by hearing, and by hearing of the Word of God. God bless you. Have a good day.